All right, for today's topics, actually, I brought in a LinkedIn automation secrets expert, my good buddy, Thad Barnes, and the co-founder of his company, saleswithsystems.io. Thad, thank you for being here, buddy. I really appreciate you. I'm excited to pick your brain on these topics because no one knows it better than you, to my knowledge anyway. So we're going to talk all about LinkedIn automation stuff. That's the softwares, that's the sales navigator for the targeting, that's just warming up leads, having conversations, and even replacing yourself using setters. So in this whole section, you're going to learn a lot, so make sure you're taking notes, pay attention. This is really golden stuff. Thad Barnes charges a lot for consulting, as he should, so you're about to learn some gold here. So Thad, thank you for being here. How you doing, my friend?
Thanks for having me, Sam. It's great to be here and good to see you as always. We'll have to do it in person again soon, but I'm doing great. Things are really, really good. We're growing and expanding, like companies want to do. So it's just really good to be here, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, amazing. Well, I appreciate you for being here to shed some knowledge on the community. So let's just jump right in. I want to jump in and talk straight about the different softwares that LinkedIn that you can potentially utilize for LinkedIn automation. So I know there's you've had experience using Ulinc, which is a really popular one, Expandi, another popular one, and Skyleads. Is there any other ones that you might have dabbled with? And if so, maybe you can tell us the pros and cons of using those and what you've experienced, how to utilize them, all that stuff.
Sure. Those are the main three that we have utilized over time. What I would say is that they all have their pros and they all have their cons. Skylead and Expandi are similar. They're highly competitive in what they offer in their niche, and they're always improving. So, Skylead will come out with some new features, and then Expandi will catch up, and then they'll introduce new features, and then Skylead needs to kind of catch up. So, it's worth evaluating, I would say, all three. And here's the main difference. Ulinc is very baseline, very, very basic in what it can do, but very powerful in that simplicity. So, Ulinc is excellent for your basic connecting with leads and sending initial messages and some follow-ups if needed. What its benefit is that they have figured out a way to make it easier for you to connect with more people more frequently in a shorter time frame. So instead of the kind of unwritten rule of about 100 connections a week, you can far exceed that with Ulinc. Now, I can't give you a specific, you can do 500, or you can do 1,000, you can do 200. You kind of have to play with that because the algorithm within LinkedIn changes and it adapts to your specific profile. So what my profile would allow me to do through LinkedIn utilizing Ulinc will be different than what yours is, Sam, or what anybody watching this will be. Okay. And there's a lot of factors that come into play there, and it's not specifically defined by LinkedIn.
I see.
That said, Ulinc still is very powerful in terms of its ability to exceed that kind of unwritten rule of 100 a week.
Okay. That's something I did not know, actually. So I think out of all three, Ulinc is the one that I have most experience with, but Skyleads is a close second. Never used Expandi, which I know used to be your top favorite, but we'll get into that in a minute. But that's interesting because I did see that the max, friend request, connection request, whatever it is, was at 100. I was always too scared to keep it at 100. So general rule of thumb, do you usually kind of bring it down for just precautionary reasons, or?
The biggest thing to consider there is the account you're working with. And so you want to understand where your LinkedIn account, or if you're using this as a service for your clients, you want to understand where their LinkedIn account is. Right. Things from how many connections do they already have? Do they have 100? Do they have 1,000? Do they have 3,000? How active is their account already? Are they posting a lot? Are they liking a lot? Are they connecting with people often? One of the things that LinkedIn looks at is if you have 5 connections and all of a sudden you're requesting 50 connections a day, that's a problem, right? So what I do is I look at the account, and if they have, I generally recommend that people start with a minimum of 100 connections. If they don't have that, spend the next couple of weeks and manually start getting up to yourself till you have 100 connections. Right. Then we'll bring it into our platform of choice, in this case, Ulinc, and I will back it down, and I will tell it, we're only going to do 50 to 100 a week maximum. Even though it might let me go to 500 or 250 or something like that, we're going to have it go slowly because we don't want the algorithm to say, well, you were not active, and all of a sudden you're really active. Clearly you're spamming. We don't want that. So that's kind of on a case by case basis. Now, if I was to bring my own personal account with thousands of connections, and I've been doing this a long time, I would have no problem just stepping it right up into the larger numbers because it's been active. LinkedIn knows I'm active, and they're okay with that. Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. It's actually one of the first things I think you put on my radar was to watch the amount of connection requests I go out. So every single time I set somebody up, I definitely lowered that number. So that's interesting to know. Okay. Anything else about Ulinc that you like or don't like in comparison to the others?
I do like the fact that, like most of them, they work with Sales Navigator. So I can create searches in Sales Navigator, take those lists, it's a URL based list, and bring that into Ulinc, and it will contact those people directly from the list that I built in Sales Navigator. So that's very powerful. I don't have to worry about it too much. The next part of that is that Sales Navigator is consistently refreshing that list for me automatically in the background, which leads me to one of the downsides of Ulinc is that I have to remember every week to go into Ulinc and refresh that search. It doesn't do it automatically. And that part, it takes 30 seconds. It's not a big deal, but you got to remember to do it. Otherwise, when it exhausts that list, it will just stop. And so you have to be aware of that and constantly refresh the list. Whereas other platforms will refresh that list for you automatically from Sales Navigator.
It's one of those like getting up to sharpen your pencil when you're right in the groove of this sketch that you're working on, man. That's because Sales Navigator will be the one that tells you, right? We'll get into more of that in a little bit as well, but they'll be the ones that tell you, hey, there's 100 new connections or potential people, right, that you can add in, and you have to reboot the entire thing. So when you actually have to do an entire, like, how does that, should we say that for Sales Navigator, or do you want to keep this in this Ulinc conversation where you have to refresh and how to do it? Should we save that for Sales Navigator?
That refreshing is only pertinent and only applies to Ulinc, really, because the refreshing within Sales Navigator happens automatically.
Gotcha. Okay, got it. So you have to do a whole new search, right, to upload to Ulinc since it doesn't automatically do it on its own. Is that what you mean?
You don't have to do a whole new search, but within Ulinc, you have to go in and refresh the search based on the Sales Navigator URL that you gave it. You have to tell it, hit this link again, make sure there's no new connections. If there are new connections, add them to my existing campaign, this one.
Gotcha. Okay. Actually, that's something I wasn't doing. So I learned a really helpful tip as well. So
we typically send out an email to our clients that are using Ulinc every Monday, reminding them, hey, you need to do your weekly refresh.
Gotcha. Yeah, with the connections, the secondary connections might go up like crazy. That makes a lot of sense. Awesome. Yeah. That's a great tip for sure. So I need to go back and refresh a lot of different searches. So
the other part of that is that Ulinc limits you. I believe the limit is 2,000. So like, let's say you generate, we'll talk about more how you do this, but let's say you generate a Sales Navigator search list and it has 4,000 people in it. Ulinc will only take the first 2,000 of those until you've run through them, you've made some connections. And so if you want to access that other 2,000 in that search, you have to refresh into Ulinc. Not just because Sales Navigator will continue to add people to meet your search criteria, but also because it has that hard 2,000 limit.
I see. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Because one thing that I got to say about Ulinc that I don't particularly like is that they're not very, like, this is aside from their support team and creating support tickets. I'm always like, what does this even mean? How do I navigate this? I feel like it's like Facebook in a lot of ways where they don't quite tell you what you're doing wrong and why this isn't working, or how to even do this search. Particularly, I'm talking about, I think, messenger campaigns. Do you have any thoughts on utilizing the messenger campaigns as opposed to connector campaigns?
Within Ulinc?
Mhm.
Yeah, we do a combination of both. So a messenger campaign is people you're already connected to. You want to start sending them messages. And one of the things that is critical in a new prospecting and lead generation campaign in general is that you'll probably find your most lowest hanging fruit, I guess I would say, your easiest time connecting and getting people on sales calls in your existing network. Now, whether that's a LinkedIn network, Facebook network, your actual friends that you know, like in the real world, that you know face to face, and maybe go have coffee with, beers with, whatever, you're probably going to find your first few clients from that circle already. And so a messenger campaign within LinkedIn, if you already have connections, is excellent because they're people you're already connected with. You don't have to kind of lure them into a connection, right? They're already there, and you can have a much easier conversation.
Yeah, it's easy. It's easier to kind of broadcast a message. I think it was I was having struggles with segmenting out who I wanted to message. I think that was the issue with it. I think it was just you could segment out, the talking, the reply, all that stuff. But it gave me a jumbled mix of industries, I should say, like different job titles, all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, how do you filter this out? And it was like they give you 3 options, and neither of those options were segmenting out the way I liked it to be. And I was like, oh, there's got to be a better platform to do this, right? So in a lot of ways, I do love utilizing Ulinc as well, for the reasons obviously you mentioned. But there are a lot of things that I didn't love about it, and that was one of them. I feel like they kept it nice and neat for a reason, because aesthetically, okay, it looks clean, right, in a lot of ways, but it's also very vague on how to utilize the platform, in my opinion. But
I think that's a double-edged sword with Ulinc, meaning that it's positive and it has drawbacks. And here's what I mean by that: Ulinc has been extraordinarily careful about flying under the radar. So you're not going to see YouTube videos about it. They don't have a knowledge base that just anyone can see. In fact, they don't have a knowledge base to my knowledge. I've never seen it. They don't have tutorials. They don't advertise. Ulinc is essentially invite only, meaning that if you have a LinkedIn account or a Ulinc account, you can ask Ulinc to give an account to somebody that you know, and they're going to ask you some questions, and then they'll give that person an account.
Right.
You can't just click on a page, click sign up. Here's all our pricing. Here's all our benefits. They don't have that.
Nope.
And so that makes it difficult. But the reason that they do that is to fly under the radar, because their tools tend to work longer when LinkedIn is making changes and trying to slow people down with automations and things like that, because the methods that Ulinc are using are not widely published.
Yeah.
And so they also don't have a 10,000 user database of people that are using Ulinc and just hammering LinkedIn from their API. So there's positives and negatives to that whole kind of scenario, and they've chosen this path on purpose.
Yeah, that's actually a good point too. I think something was driving me crazy. I think it was the whole segmenting out certain audiences for Messenger, and I was all over YouTube. I was all over ChatGPT. I was all over everything, even Google. I was like trying to find these forums, and I'm like, there is literally nothing. This is an untapped thing, and I wonder if like they are that heavily on top of it to where like people can't even create YouTube content on it, which is insane. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Like, don't people don't they want to have their users be happy? But that totally makes sense that they're trying to find a radar. Because I know they are invite only, and I also know that they work a lot more closely with LinkedIn, which makes me nervous about jumping into other platforms. But when I mentioned that, that skepticism with you when it comes to Expandi, you're like, haven't had a problem. So I'm like, okay, cool. So can we talk a little bit about your experiences with Expandi?
Sure.
For a while too.
Yeah, I use Expandi quite extensively. One of the biggest benefits of a platform like Expandi, and I know we're not quite there yet, but Skyleads as well, because I mentioned they're in heavy competition as their platforms are similar,
right.
Is the additional capabilities that come with it. And what I mean by that is not only can you just send a connection request and an initial message and follow messages, but the beauty of Expandi is that you can like posts of people that you intend to follow,
right.
or anybody in that sales navigator list. It has the same features where you can import a sales navigator search, but it refreshes that search automatically for you. So they still have a similar limit of around 2,000 people that you can import in a search. But as you utilize that list, it will continually automatically for you import more people from that list from Sales Navigator. Benefit number 1. Benefit number 2, as I started to mention, is that they have the ability to interact within LinkedIn in multiple ways. Mm-hmm. And when I talked about if your profile is new and you're looking for LinkedIn to see you as an active participant in the community, this is a great way to do it and automate it. You can, as I mentioned, you can build workflows where you identify a person, you go to their profile and like a post, and you can specify, I only want to like posts that have more than 10 comments already, or less than 10 comments, or more than 5, or more than 6, or more than 100, whatever you want. So you can be that person that's helping other people boost visibility of their post. So like I would often go in and tell it, like a post that has less than 10 comments already.
Right.
Because I want to be seen as that person that's helping them boost their algorithm by boosting their post by engaging with it.
Yeah.
Second, you can then follow them. Third, you can then endorse them for a skill.
Wow.
Which is incredible, because now you're directly interacting with that person, not just on a post, not just on following, but by endorsing them for a skill, they get multiple notifications. If Thad liked your post, Thad followed you, and Thad endorsed you for a skill, and you can specify one of their top 5 skills or any skill that has this in the title. So like, let's say I was looking for project managers of a construction company because I'm going to target construction managers or construction companies. I can endorse them for a skill in project management or construction management or something like that by keyword. So if somebody has endorsed them in the past for being a network engineer or an IT support person, but now they're in project management because that was 10 years ago, and now they've advanced. Now they're in construction management or project management. I don't want to endorse them for those skills that they may have 100 endorsements in, because that's not what they're doing anymore. I endorse them for this. So that's extraordinarily powerful.
That's awesome. Yeah, because that's a great way to do a lot without having to do anything, and then also generate a lot more, I think, attention. Because I think we all know as marketers, right, we ruin everything as far as like cold outreach, right? Clearly, because that's part of the numbers game kind of mentality is you send a lot of automated messages in hopes that you get at least 10% back or something, which is a lot harder to do if you're going to be following and endorsing all day every day. So that's a pretty cool automation tool that they have to offer, or piece to offer, because that's a great conversation starter. Because I don't think people understand that is like a automation tool yet. I think people are still thinking that out of the kindness of your heart, you're just going out of your way to endorse someone's skills or whatever, right? So it's kind of cool. I've never used Expandi, so I'm interested to hear more about this. Tell me more about this. Tell me more about this Expandi.
Yeah, Expandi is really, really good. It's very comparable in price to Ulinc in terms of the monthly fees per LinkedIn account that you want to connect to it. It has a visual interface. So we mentioned that Ulinc has a very simple interface. It really is like a website that was designed in 2006.
Yeah.
If you can imagine what those websites looked like back then, service-based websites.
Yeah.
Very simple, very drab looking. Just point and click drop down menus, not a lot of buttons, no color, no flash, no nothing like that. So Expandi's the complete opposite of that, right? It's very modern. It's very user interface oriented, meaning that they want to make it visually pleasing. They want to make it visually interesting and visually easy to navigate. So you have a menu system on the left where I want to look at all my connections, or I want to look at all my campaigns, or I want to look at my workflows. So it's very good in that way. Click a menu button on the left. On the right hand side in the panel, you see the information based on the menu that you chose. So Expandi is extraordinarily powerful in the way that you can build workflows, and it uses simple if-then logic. If this, then do that. So if I already follow this person, go down this path and send them a message, follow them. I'm sorry, I already followed them, but maybe like a post, maybe endorse them for a skill. If I don't, so if not, send a connection request and wait. Once they accept that connection request, then do this, then do this, then do this, and multiple if-then paths, right? So if you can imagine a flow chart of a workflow, if this, yes, no, but over here, no, then if this, then yes, then no. So you can have multiple flows within it. Extraordinarily powerful in that regard. The next most powerful thing, in my opinion, beyond engagement, because once you engage with somebody and they see you liking their post, endorsing them for skills, it grabs their attention. You can implement automated email outreach directly from within Expandi. So
okay. I was already going to say that the other if this then that sounds like an email CRM type of platform. Like if someone opens this and clicks that link, then send them this email. But if they don't, then click send them this email. So that's kind of cool. So what does this look like? And how do you leverage that part of it? I guess I can say.
Yeah, it would be, if you think about it in terms of overall usability in your company, it would really be no different than if I connect with them, use like a Zapier integration to pull their account information into my CRM or into ActiveCampaign or whatever I'm using, go high level, and pull them in and then insert them into this workflow sequence, which would then send them emails.
Right.
The nice thing about this is that you can separate that out so that you're only using workflows and emails that pertain specifically to the conversation you may have been having in Messenger in LinkedIn. That's one reason.
Okay.
Number two, I love the fact that it's all on one platform. So I can set it all up. It's all right there. I can see exactly how this works. And once they hit a certain point in that workflow, maybe the conversation's evolved to a certain area, or they've gotten to a certain point where I've endorsed them, I've done all these things, and they've interacted with them. Now I want to pull them into my CRM and send them my business related, my weekly newsletter, my offers, my sales, my discounts, whatever that is. But more now they're kind of a part of my ecosystem and my community. Whereas when they're in Expandi, I want to keep it professional. I want to keep it business related. And I want to keep it, to the point where we haven't fully engaged yet. But once we have, now they're in my CRM and they're doing the other stuff. So I kind of like that I can separate that out in this platform before they get into my CRM.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Because you have two all-encompassing platforms. So you're using Go High Level and you're also using like Expandi, right? Something like that. Right. So that can be dirtied up pretty quickly if you're not careful. So you're talking about someone books a call, now they're in your world over here in Go High Level, right? That's kind of like the trade. You graduate or what have you. Now you're mine. Now you're email subscriber, basically.
Think about the difference between opt-in and not opted in, right? You can think of it in those terms. When you're just having cold conversation, they haven't opted in yet.
Right.
But you can still send them an email. Hey, we just connected on LinkedIn. Great to meet you. I saw that you're in this space and I really loved your post about XYZ.
Yeah.
Again, with keywords, you can pull that up. You can search for posts that have these keywords in the subject or in the title or even in the text. And so you can pull that information into your email within Expandi. Loved your post about, construction management and the changing ways in which we're using concrete structural integrity devices or, whatever it is. But you personalize that. It's still within LinkedIn. They haven't opted in anything, but you're touching them digitally in a new way, but still based on LinkedIn only. Now that's the haven't opted in side. Once they have opted in and they booked a call, now they're in your CRM ecosystem, and that's a whole different workflow. Yeah, so that's where your nurturing actually comes in versus the cold outreach. There you are. Totally makes sense. Did you say that there was actually like built out automation stuff that you can throw in there and email them? There are templates that are standard within Expandi. I tend to build out my own because I have my own ideas about how I want my workflows to work. But there are templates to get you started. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was one of those things where you had to manually enter in like, hey, I saw you like my post, thank you so much, or whatever. But that all comes. I'm not a big template guy either, but if you were to use a template, that's there. So that's kind of cool. Gives you an idea. That's pretty cool. So main difference is visually big difference and capabilities big difference as well. I know you mentioned that you ran Expandi for a while using that for your clients. Is this because I think with Ulinc, I'm not quite sure how you would invite people because you wouldn't add your client to your Ulinc account, or I guess you could, right? You just attach them to your own account. Same thing goes with Expandi. I got backwards. Same thing with Expandi. Is that how that works? Where you would just add them to like another LinkedIn profile essentially, or will they have to sign up completely on their own Expandi account? So they do work a little bit differently, and there's pros and cons to both, as in most things. With Expandi, one of the pros that I really like about account management is that I can connect someone's LinkedIn account to my Expandi portal. But different than Ulinc is that I can invite my team into my Expandi dashboard and assign them roles and assign them permissions for various parts of Expandi. So like, let's say I want to invite an appointment setter and all they're going to do is message. They don't need to deal with workflows. They don't need to deal with email management. They don't need to import Sales Navigator, links, or maybe they do need to import Sales Navigator links because they're going to be responsible for building those searches and then bringing them into the campaigns, but they don't need all the other stuff. Right. You cannot do that in Ulinc. You cannot invite a team member and then assign them to this account, but not that account, or give them these permissions, but not those. You can with Expandi. So another point for Expandi being exceptionally more powerful is that I can have, 5 appointment setters and I can assign each one of them to various different accounts within my platform. Mm-hmm. Which is extraordinarily helpful. Yeah. The drawback is that in both of those scenarios, if I'm bringing customers' LinkedIn profile into my platform, whether it's Expandi or Ulinc, is that they don't own the workflows. They don't own the data. I'm not suggesting that's good or bad. That depends on your business model and how you approach this and how you want to handle it. Yeah. But think of it, if you're in a marketing agency or an ads agency, it's the difference between connecting your client's Facebook manager, ad manager to your business manager or logging into theirs. So do you own the data? So when they leave, and let's be honest, clients are going to leave. And it doesn't always mean it's bad, but clients are going to leave. Do they take all of their ad accounts and all the creative and all the ad data that you've collected with them, or do you keep it? It's a business choice, and a lot of people have different opinions on which way to go and why. Yeah. So that's kind of not part of this discussion, right? But it's a business choice, and it does involve with Expandi or Ulinc making that choice. Well, I guess it could be a little touch on preference there. My initial reaction was like, well, it's their data. Like they probably paid for it. It's theirs. They should be entitled to it. I wish there was a way to like give a copy to both parties, because one, it's like, hey, we have tested this, we've proven this works for this industry. Like we have all this data to back it up. But on the other side of it, it's like, well, this was someone else's account, someone else's business, so they technically should own that. But we do all the work, right? So it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to like figure out which direction to go in. So, do you mind sharing just a brief 30-second kind of a statement around those? Sure. in my view, this is my personal view, it is different between an ad campaign and an outreach campaign. And it is made easier to make this choice with Expandi because you're connecting to their LinkedIn account. The messages may be automated in our platform, but they are sent through LinkedIn. And so a client can see your exact message flow, all of the copywriting that you've done, similar to the copywriting you would do in an ads campaign on Facebook or Google. They have that. It's theirs. They can see it in all the messages that you've sent. What is proprietary is the way in which I build the workflows, or if you're thinking about Facebook ads, the way in which I manage the campaigns. That part is not theirs.
Right.
So with LinkedIn outreach, it kind of is easy for you to give them the copywriting that you provided for them, but you're not giving them the workflows that you built and the if-then statements that you put into the workflows, right? So in my view, they have paid for the copywriting, they have paid for the messaging, but they haven't paid for my workflows. And so those do stay with us.
Yeah, totally. I gotta say, you sold me on that concept for sure. Totally forgot, because when I think about it more in terms of like Facebook ads, stuff like that, all that data, whose data is that? But you're absolutely right. The behind the scenes stuff like should be kept for the actual implementer, if you want to call it that, right? So I'm actually really glad we took that 30 seconds to jump into that. That's a very, I think, useful tip that is going to go very much used in the way of thinking about it too. This is obviously a big mindset game that we play, is how to think, how to utilize, how to improve, how to bring in results faster, etc. So this is very much something that I think will be helpful. Is there anything else in particular about Expandi that you love, that you don't enjoy?
Well, I did. There's one other part to that last piece before we go into this further. I would say that if a client asks me, how did you build the workflows? I'm not going to tell them no. I will be happy to expand the workflow out so that you can see all the if-thens and all the branches, take a screenshot and send it to them. Right? That's fine. I have no problem with that. That's totally fine. It's the same thing with running an ad account in Facebook. If typically, so I should mention this too, is typically we work in the client's ad account. It's their data. It's their business owns all their client data, right? So did the client interact? Did they engage? Did they respond? Did they click anything? All of that stuff that comes with Pixel collection, or if you're using Google and AdWords and analytics and all that, that's their data. We work in their accounts. Same thing. If a client comes to me and says, how did you build all this? That's a different question than, can you just show me what it looks like? Right. Yeah. So people worry about their clients leaving all the time. Well, what if they take all my IP, my intellectual property? The reality is that a client hired you or is going to hire any agency. They may very well know how to do the work. Or you can say, here's the structure of the account. Are they going to have the technical expertise to go ahead and build that out just based on seeing it once? Yeah. Do they have the time to go watch 100 YouTube videos or join a course and learn how to do all these things? No, that's why they hired an ad agency. That's why they're hiring you to run their LinkedIn account messaging. Could they do it? Yes. Do they have the time to do it? Probably not. And so I have no problem. And I think that you should also have no problem just telling them, here's a snapshot. Here's how I did it. Yeah, that's fine. But going in and having the technical expertise to put it all together and make it work or learn how to do it is not something that they're prepared to do. So it's okay to give it away. Yeah, I totally agree. Because like if someone gave me the exact blueprint of the house it's my dream house, here, it's yours. You can build it if you want to. It's yours. How the hell am I going to put that together? Right? With this, this underground basement. Well, I got to dig a hole. But how do you put the wood slats on the on the dirt walls here? Like, I wouldn't know what to do from that. Have you ever seen the inside of a house where the walls are up? What the hell? Right? So it's probably the very same concept as that. So we all know how fiber ad agencies go. So that's not going to probably go too well. Although there are some good people there, but it's the same conversation that you can have with a client when they say your price is too high.
Right.
Why do you charge $3,000 a month for this? Or why are you going to charge me $4,000 to remodel my kitchen, or $25,000, or whatever that is? Well, how much do you think it should cost? Well, it's not a $25,000 kitchen remodel. I think it's like 10. Okay, cool. Yeah, go for it. Go do it. Well, I don't know how to do drywall. I don't know how to do tile work. I don't know how to cut granite.
Right.
Okay, well, I'd be happy to show you that for $4,000. So now you're still saving, $10,000, $11,000. Okay, great, cool. Here's how you do it. Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna get started this Saturday. Great. Oh, wait a minute. I don't have a tile saw. I don't have, I don't know. I don't have hammers. Okay, well, you can go to Home Depot and buy all that stuff. That's another $1,000. Or I'd be happy to rent you mine for $600. Right. Now you just saved another $400. Cool. And you just keep going down the rabbit hole until they go, well, now I have to give up my Saturday because I work 5 days a week. So now I have to give up my Saturday and Sunday for the next 6 months. Right? It just keeps stacking up. Now they understand why it's $25,000. Now they're just going to go ahead and pay you. It's the same exact concept.
So they think about it made out in real time, in real inconvenience of your life, right? We already did all that stuff. We already bought the tools. Our credit cards are maxed out. I already paid those off because all the tools are ours. We stopped renting a long time ago, right? Very, very, very powerful move we got there. That's awesome. That's a great way of putting that for sure. Because you're gonna get that question a lot. I imagine for those that are attending this program, they're watching this training. You're gonna get that question a lot. Why are your prices so high? Other agency is only charging us $500 or $1,000, whatever it is. It's great. Go try them out. So let me know when you're ready to get started after. So but yeah, that's awesome. That's a really good point. I'm glad you touched on that. Awesome, man. We can any finishing remarks that we have towards Expandi before we kind of jump into a bit of Skyleads?
Yeah, I would say, Andy, one thing to keep in mind is that if you're learning this from the ground up, Expandi's customer service is based in Europe and they don't maintain US time zones. And so if you have a question, their support is very good. It's just limited in the time that they operate. So if you wake up at, 7 o'clock in the morning in New York, you're going to have a better experience because it's closer to Europe than, say, California, where I live. So if you live on the West Coast in California and you wake up at 7 o'clock and you send them a message, you have a very small window in which they might reply. If you don't get back to them immediately in their chat support, you're going to wait a solid 10 hours for them to, they're off work, they're off the clock, they've gone to sleep, then they're going to get up and respond to you. Now it's the end of your day. If you're not going to stay up late into the evening, you're basically going to get 1 or 2 messages a day. So be aware of that.
That sounds like a unique opportunity right there. Install some help desk center opportunity.
I've had extensive conversations with them about why they don't service, in particular, West Coast time zones. They said they're working on it.
Okay, well, at least on the radar. So that has probably screamed down their ears about support plenty of times. Politely, I should add.
I'm sure I'm not the only one.
Probably not. Awesome, dude. Yeah, awesome. A lot of great tips with Expandi. I'm also thinking, like, why even touch on Skyleads? To me, it sounds like it's a no-brainer to either go with Expandi or Ulinc. But let's, for the sake of keeping the conversation going with different options, I know you mentioned that you dabbled with Skyleads. I think before you jumped into Expandi. Is that right?
After
Expandi. Okay. So what was your experience like with Skyleads? I gotta say, their team, their support team, that I've encountered, I feel like they've got it together just probably as closely as Expandi does. So how can you kind of talk about the difference between those two? I know they're very similar.
Yeah, in terms of platform, they're very similar in terms of the service that they offer. I think the main difference with Skylead is that they're newer, they're younger, and they're hungrier. And what I mean by that is I only had a 7-day trial with Skylead. And in that time, I liked it very much. It felt very similar to Expandi. What I loved about them was that when I had questions, they invited me to a Zoom call to address my questions on the spot. Like I didn't ask for that. I just said, how do I do this? Or where do I find that? Or how does this work? Not only did they provide me, hey, we have a knowledge base article and here's a bunch of videos you can watch. If you still don't find your answer, let me know. So I was like, yeah, I'm still not quite getting what I want. Do you want to hop in a Zoom call? Yes, sure. I would love to. Not only to demo the product more in depth than just their standard YouTube video, but to answer my very specific question.
Right.
And I felt that level of service was unheard of and amazing.
Top
I suspect though that as they get bigger, that will go away. They won't have time to do that for everybody.
Yeah.
But in the early days, I think that they do have time, and that level was amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah. Or they all came from Expandi and realized the level of support needed. They said this on our own. No, I'm just kidding. But just accusations, but not based on anything else. But that's factual. But that's awesome. Yeah. Because I watched their tutorial before jumping in with them, and I saw that they have a lot of similarities that you were talking about. One of the things I thought was really cool, I don't know if this is a new added feature that you haven't quite used yet, was the ability to actually go to find popular posts and message everyone that's liked and commented on that post. So that was really cool. Like, what's up, Ulinc? Like, let's set it up a little bit, but not their purpose. I get that now. But with Skyleads, that was pretty cool because I've never seen that. And the if this then that factor was also another attractive feature. So that was pretty cool. So what was your aside from the great support team, what was your other experience with? What kind of results did you get, et cetera? What did you like?
I liked the fact that their roadmap was extraordinarily transparent. And when I used the demo within the trial period, what you're talking about in terms of searching for posts and messaging people within that post was on the roadmap. I'm extraordinarily happy to hear that they've implemented that.
That's awesome.
I think it's worth another trial with them to see where they're at. And to be fair to them, they have maintained contact with me, not in a spammy, crazy way. It's certainly automated, but they said, hey, we'd love to come back and show you all of our new features since you last tried our product, those kinds of things. But it never felt spammy. I wasn't getting something every week. It's like once a quarter, I might get an email. And so I think it's time to revisit them. It sounds like they've implemented some of those things. And she told me about that. I met with one of the co-founders of Skylead, and she told me that specific feature was on their roadmap. I just hadn't revisited to know that it was live, and that's pretty awesome.
Wow, she personally reached out to you and said it was live.
No, I personally had a Zoom call with her after my trial ended. She wanted feedback. She wanted to know what I thought. And I asked a bunch of questions. I said, hey, it would be cool if it would do that. And almost everything I said, hey, it would be cool if, she said that's on a roadmap. And that was one of them.
Awesome.
And so they've implemented it. So that, I think that's fantastic.
That's cool. Yeah. So I guess your perspective of them being younger and hungrier stands fairly true. A lot, much like on level, as you were telling me, they have a whole deck of requests that they're either going to implement or not implement or it's in the works. I think that's pretty cool. And you listen to the public, let the public dictate what you want, where to go, and make the changes. That's an amazing quality of company. I gotta say for sure. So they've maintained their rapport and their reputation with you, which is also impressive on your end that you read email 3 or 4 months after you quit their service or tested their service, I should say. Right. So it's pretty impressive on your part to stay in the loop of all that, which obviously shows the same type of I guess work ethic with your own business. Is like I'm still gonna keep options open even if I'm cozy right now, even if we're doing well right now. I'm still gonna keep options open. I read this email from a company that I tried 3 or 4 months ago. Right. So it's kind of just stay up to date. That's a really, really important factor. So I gotta give you credit where it's due as well. You met them kind of halfway on that one. So that's kind of cool. But
I think it's important, especially in today's day and age where it seems like every other month there's something new and hot that's come out. Right now it's AI, right? Now it's ChatGPT and all that kind of stuff. I suspect that this has some longevity and will stay relevant for quite some time. But in the last couple of years, it was LinkedIn automation. We dabbled in Facebook automation. There's a lot of things out there, and it's really fire. It's really popular. Everybody's talking about it on Facebook groups or whatever platform you happen to be in. Yeah. And then a month later, you don't hear much about it because now they're on to the next thing. And so it's hard to stay up with it. But when you find a service that you're either impressed with where they're going or you love right now, it is important to stay up with what's happening and what they're adding, what's on the roadmap. It's easy to get comfortable and say, well, it's working for me right now. Right. It may not work in 6 months, or there may be something to make it work better if you stay up to date with what they're doing. Yeah, which is why companies, like Go High Level and Skyleads, for another example, that they're probably going to be doing well for a while because they are staying up to date as much as possible. And it's really easy to get left behind with how fast things are changing. Goodness, yes. It's crazy. You're gone for a month. You're already gone. You might as well be gone for 3. That's how fast things are kind of moving right now. So, it's insane. Anyway, but yeah, it's very true. That's a very good point. Very, very good point. So let me ask you in terms of Skylead, because you've clearly had more experience with them than I have more recently. Beyond the posts and being able to message people from posts, what are some of the things that you like the most about it? I'd love to kind of brainstorm with you. Well, I haven't quite used too much of their services just yet. I'm still dabbling with it, trying to see if this is home or not. Much like you, just really trying to figure out what's going to be the next biggest play. But just with a little bit of tinkering that I've done so far, I really do like the fact that there's a lot more capabilities, a lot more clarity around how to use their service to the best of your abilities, to the best of their abilities, functionality wise. That's something that I wasn't getting through Ulinc, was clarity and support. And clearly, like YouTube, there's nothing. So it's just nice to have that kind of guidance, I guess, in navigating that platform. And I really liked, like you said about Expandi as well, was just the if this and that thing. That was really cool. Because not a lot of other softwares can really integrate that kind of stuff with it. That's not a CRM. So they clearly have taken email CRM thinking and applied that to lead generation outreach concepts, which is cool. And again, the support team was great. I haven't had a need for a Zoom call just yet, but I like the fact that they were on it as well. So I thought that was pretty cool. But other than that, I gotta say you've actually probably had a lot more time to mess with it than I have, to be honest, at this point. But those things I thought were very attractive, which is why I'm probably gravitating towards that way. Even though I'm not gonna lie, you kind of did sell me back on using Ulinc, just with their a double-edged sword conversation. I'm like, well, maybe I should give it a second chance. But wait, we gotta talk about Expandi and Skyleads first. Hold on. So I went starting back down that rabbit hole, but I think it's time for a fresh platform with color that's not from an outdated website. But I think one of the biggest things that at this point in your agency life, if you're watching this, if this is the point you're at, when you have a little bit of extra revenue and you're at the point where you can expand a little bit and experiment, much like you do with Facebook ads where you're constantly testing. We have LinkedIn accounts that we just use for testing new platforms. And so we have our main accounts that are constantly prospecting. And then we have a few, they're not bogus accounts, they're real accounts that test real people, but they're not like appointment setting accounts, or they're not sales rep accounts within our company. Right. They are real LinkedIn accounts, and we'll go and reattach them to a Ulinc or an Expandi or a Skylead and have somebody on our team start to work with them a few hours a day just to see how the new features are working and if it's worth implementing either in our own business or our client's business. That's smart. Very, very smart. Yeah. And
we won't necessarily go in the rabbit hole of what profiles are you starting up? How are you getting these profiles? That's a different conversation, different day. But that's very, very smart.
It's also a good way to warm up a profile. If you have a brand new profile, you've never been on LinkedIn before, or very minimally, use those platforms to just warm up your account. Have it just connect with people and send a very innocuous message that's not salesy. You're not even trying to do anything with them except connect into the space.
Right.
So like using the construction angle again, like, you might just connect with people, send us one single message only that just says, hey, I'm just looking to expand my network in the construction space. Saw that you're a project manager for XYZ company. Would love to connect.
Yeah.
You can even put something at the end. I promise there's no sales pitch. I'm not looking to, chat back and forth to get to know you. You can put these kinds of disclaimers in there, and it takes people's guard down. It'll let them connect with you because there's no expectation that you're going to try and sell them anything. You just want to connect. That's it.
Yeah. And even then people are still skeptical.
Very much.
which is funny because I very much resonate with what you're saying with trying to get people's guard down, even though like the end goal is to see if there is opportunity. But I'm always just like very transparent. Like, hey, I just think it's really great to connect. If we hit it off great, then we can talk about next steps. But I really genuinely just want to get to know you as we're in the same field. That's it. And then they'll start opening up when you say that kind of stuff, which is kind of cool. Then they'll ask just like curiosity because like, okay, this guy's cool. That's a cool guy. So what do you do if you're in the same space? What do you do? And that's just kind of naturally curiosity. So I love that. People do tend to respond better with those types of messages for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So let's actually go ahead and pause here, and then we're going to go ahead and continue the conversation into how to actually navigate Sales Navigator. Is that cool?
Sounds great.
All right, we'll see you in the next lesson.